called helping you make your dreams come true. There is an energy, there's an excitement from birthing something new. The rearrangement of existing ideas to form a new order, a new matrix. Your idea, your gift, and your dream merging to come to form something that's new. I have a Millionaire MBA program on my phone. It's one of the best phones on the market. Yes, I said it. I know it. It's great. Now on my phone, there are some millionaires who share their stories about where they've been, what they've been doing, and where they're going. And the greatest thing about it is that every one of the stories tell a story of someone who's had nothing, started with nothing in their hands, but just an idea. One particular young lady, she came out of school, she learned to cook, and she had no contracts, nobody to give her a job. It was doomed for her, nothing. Then one day, through a friend, she got a contract. Favor came upon her. She got a contract to cook 3,000 meals for a diplomat. Now, where she lived, there was no kitchen. There was no commercial kitchen, no commercial restaurant, nothing around her, apart from her one-bedroom flat. A one-bedroom flat with a little kitchen in it. Well, she had an idea. She took her kitchen and she said, I'm gonna do this. She went to Sweden and found some trainee cooks, chefs who wanted to experience Britain, invited them to the UK, and they came. She turned her flat into a kitchen. She pushed all her furniture to her neighbors, everything out. And for 1 week, she cooked. The trainees from Sweden, they wanted to go back home. They wanted to fly home. They wanted to return because this wasn't what they had in mind. They thought they were coming to some majestic kitchen, something great to come and cook. But no, she cooked in her kitchen, in her bedroom, in her living room. A one-bedroom flat, it became a whole kitchen. And for 7 days they cooked. They cooked and prepared for 7 days. For 7 days, they took the knives and carved and turned until something great happened. She did it. She produced meals for 3,000 guests. Now tell me, if the diplomat knew where his food was being cooked, do you think he would have given her the contract? Nah, no way she'd have got the contract. But because she knew that she could do it, she moved the earth and she moved the mountains to make it happen. So don't tell me that you can't do it. Don't tell me that what you've got inside of you, you can't make happen because you have no resource around you. I need you to use your imagination. I need you to use what you've got inside of you. I need you to dream now and start thinking, what can I do with what I have? I have no money, but I have me. I have no money. I have no resource around me, but I have a great idea. I have one idea, and that's all you need. One idea to change the course of your destiny. One idea to make something happen.
Hey, one idea. Do you have an idea? You have you. Repeat after me this morning. Yes, I can. Yes, I can do it. I can make it happen because I have me. Yes, have you got you? Hey, we're tuning in today to Master Your Message today. Hey, great to see you. You're seeing me. I'm seeing you. Get a glass of water. Get a cup of tea. Wherever you are tuning in from around the world. And soon, we'll be tuning into Clubhouse. Soon, we'll be going live from Clubhouse. Yes, very soon, we'll be going live from Clubhouse. Not today, but let me just put that out there because we're hooking up with Clubhouse, yeah? We're there. Our presence needs to be felt now, yes? So guys, ladies and gentlemen, today is Thursday. Awesome day. What have you been doing all week? What have you got up to? What have you been creating in your mind? What have you been procrastinating from? That word procrastination, man, if every time that word occupied your mind in some form or the other, you are fined, you will never procrastinate. If every time that word will occupy your mind in some way, shape, or form, and you will find automatically you start procrastinating. But hey, today is not procrastination day. Today is to get you moving, get you shaking, getting you to understand that in order to have a business, you must have a. Go on, post it. Post it. In order to have a business, that's functional, in order to have a business that's current, you must have a. Go on, type it. Type it in. Put it in. Say it. Come on, man. Play the game with me. Yes, I can see it there. You must have a customer. Yes. If you haven't got a customer, then you haven't got a business. If you haven't got a customer, you have a hobby. It's not yet a business. So until the customers start coming through the door, you have a hobby until you convert it. So we're talking about today how to treat your customer. Now, my coach was talking about this heavily recently, a week ago. He was really in this. He was talking about this. And I listened and I thought, you know what? I need to pick this up. Because if you think about how much money it costs to get a customer, then what would you do with your existing customers? Now, one of the reasons why I say that, I remember working with, I remember buying broadband from people. Let me not call their names, all right? But you buy broadband from the broadband people, and it's working. It comes up to renewal, and then you notice that because you're not a brand new customer, they're not giving you the deals. And that went on for years. The best deals were always given to brand new customers. So the old customers started feeling left out. So what did the old customers do? Cancel the contract and become brand new customers again. Cancel the contract and become brand new customers again so they can get the deals. Isn't it crazy? So the effort that you take to woo the brand new customer, why aren't you applying that to the existing customer? Just to make sure they are happy, just to make sure they are being served. Hey guys, so today we're tuning in again and we're talking about how to treat your customer. This is your host, Alex Gordon, broadcasting all the way from, hey, where I am, where you are. We're all in the same place, in cyberspace. Did you see the news this week? Yes. Richard Branson went to the skies. He went to the moon, didn't he? Well, it wasn't the moon, but he went to space. His first space travel. And did you know, about 4 or 5 days before the announcement, or while the announcement was being made, Jeff Bezos put something out to say, well, Richard's not quite going to space. He's orbiting below where I am going to go. I'm going to go further than him. I'm thinking, wow, these guys are competing to go to space. Well, it was a brave feat of Richard Branson to go to space. Now, I remember the balloon trips. That Richard Branson used to do across London, over London. I mean, I don't know how far he went, but he always was doing those balloon trips. And the brand name Virgin became a household name because of the daring things that this guy did all the time. And the space that he occupies in your mind was because of the things that he did. His marketing was unbelievable. And it wasn't marketing coming from his team. It was directly coming from him. You saw the Virgin brand and you associate it with Richard Branson. Why? Because he was always out there for years. Some trips went well, some went bad, some crashed. But you don't mind. It doesn't matter what happened to the trip. The fact was, he did it. And this was to make the Virgin brand and Richard Branson become a household name. Hey, and so it has because of that. Now, what are you doing so that your customers recognize you, recognize your brand anywhere? What are you doing to enable them to recognize your brand? Because if you don't do it, you are going to start thinking about competition. Now, there's a book you should read, and I don't know if you've read this book before, but it is called Blue Ocean Thinking. Blue Ocean, yeah? Blue Ocean Thinking is I think about 20 years old, all right? But in that book, it talks about not having competition. Why? Because when you think about competition, you think about red ocean thinking. There's too much of you. There's so many people like you doing what you do. So you're in competition with them all the time. But when you step into blue ocean thinking, it means that you are not competing with anyone else. I am definitely not competing with anyone else to be Alex Gordon. No, there is only one Alex Gordon. So there's only one you. There may be several companies that sound like you or sound like your company's names, but there's only one you. There's only one Richard Branson. And we remember Richard Branson because Richard Branson has always occupied the blue ocean space. Yes, not the red ocean space in competition. He has always managed to differentiate himself in the marketplace so people remember who he is and associate the brand Virgin to his name. So no matter what happens, you're always going to remember that. Well, I think he's now part sold the brand now, isn't he? And part retired, but he's still out there. He's still out there. He's done a very good job at doing that. So the question is this morning, what are you doing to raise your brand out there? What are you doing to keep your brand alive? What are you doing so people recognize you? So let's jump into this now. How to treat your customer so that they keep coming back. You know, I think during the pandemic, during the lockdown, when every other business was suffering, when every service businesses were suffering from the pandemic, there was one business that managed to keep themselves, well, very profitable. Yes, very profitable. Now, you tell me what you think that business is. Tell me, go on, tell me. Who do you think that business is? Who do you think those businesses were? Who do you think? Who do you think they were? Go on, tell me. Come on, man. Come on. Tell me. Write it down. Write it down. Yes. It was the supermarkets. Yes. The brands that were in the supermarket space that was selling food, and people started to stockpile food, not even the small shops, you know, the big brands that are out there. Those guys made major amounts of money during the pandemic. Why? Because people felt, well, you know what? I need to stockpile food. I need to stockpile. So those guys occupied a space of blue ocean. Of course, it's blue ocean. Yeah. But they had customers who were coming back time and time again. Repeat customers. Yes. Repeat customers who were coming back time and time again to buy their products. So let's jump into this now. Get your pen and paper. Yes, get a pen and paper, get a glass of water, and let's jump into this now, because today you are going to be excited by what I've got to share with you. So let's do this. So, how to treat your customer. How are you treating your customers? How to treat your customers so they come back time and time again. So I'm really excited this morning, right? Because I'm testing I'm testing a feature in a software, which if I use it correctly, it will have all my presentations saved in one space. You know, sometimes you have your presentations on your laptop and they're in a folder, but it takes time to get to those presentations. You're out and about, you're at conferences, wherever you are, and it requires you to dig up your laptop. Well, this feature allows me to be totally cloud-based. Yes, everything I'm sharing to you right now is totally cloud-based. Now, there are some other products out there that I've used in the past, which are cloud-based, but they have glitches. And when you try to move, they freeze. The presentation is not very good at all. But this particular tool is awesome. So just keep watching this space and tell me what you think of this presentation tool. All right? So my name's Alex Gordon from Master Your Message, and we're talking about how to treat your customer so that they come back, so they keep coming back to you. So who is your customer? What is your customer? What is a customer? What makes a customer? Think about it. What makes a customer? Is it that someone just comes and hangs out in your shop? Well, I tell you what, over the years, I've been going to the barber shop. Now, you ask me, why, Alex, are you at the barber shop so regularly? Because you have no hair on your head, you're bald. But I go to the barber shop. And in the barbershops tend to always be full. Why? Because they're either watching football or commenting on something that's going on. But it doesn't mean that they're all customers. No, it doesn't mean they're all customers. They're sitting there and they're chatting, occupying their space, but it doesn't mean that they're all customers. Now, I want you to differentiate between people who hang around you and the people who are actual customers. So let's get into this now. Let's get into this now. Have you considered these? Have you considered this? What do you know about your customer? Yes? What do you know about the persons or people that are buying from you? Yes? Remember, it's not the people who hang around you that make them customers. It's the people actually spending money with you. That's what makes them a customer. Do you know where your customers hang out? Now, in these days of social media, it probably is not too difficult to find out some of these facts yourself, but do you actually know where your customers hang out? What do they like doing? What do your customers like doing? Have you thought about that? What do your customers like doing? What do they do in their spare time? What do they do for a hobby? Where they hang out and what they do? If you know what they do and if you know where they hang out, it could mean that you could be present there as well. So if you know that your customers like going to watch Wimbledon, then hey, you could do something for them that gives them something unique from Wimbledon. And they'll remember you because they're one of your customers. So who do you know? What do you know about your customers? Where do they hang out? And what do they like doing? And in particular, what are your customers looking for? What are they looking for? What is the big picture that they've got in their minds? What is the big picture in their heads, in their minds, in their dreams? What is the big picture that your customers are looking for? Think about it. Now, it's not for me to answer that question for you. It's for you to do some research. Now, let's think about the customer journey. My coach talked about this, and after I've heard him talk about this, you know what? I need to jump on this because when we try to attract customers, when we try to attract new people to become customers, we don't really think about their own journey. We're just concerned about what we're doing to attract them, but we don't really focus on the customer journey. And there's a journey that your customer has been through to get to where they are right now. Have you thought about that? So what's their story? What is their story? Now, you, Alex, you always banging on about story. Hey, man, I talked about story a lot. My coach, he does everything around story. Everything he does and says is around story. And I'll tell you why in a minute. All right? I'll tell you why in a minute. There are 5 key things that you need to understand from this customer journey. And if you stay to the end of this presentation, you will discover those 5 things. So hang in there to the end of the presentation, guys. Don't disappear, because I'm Alex Gordon from Master Your Message, talking to you today. So what's their story? The people you see, the people you're trying to attract, what is their story? What are their struggles? The challenges they've been through? The struggles in their lives? Those struggles determine how they respond to you. Because if you don't understand them clearly, understand who they are, then they won't respond positively, would they? And you know, it's taken us, I need to go back to this point, because it's taken us nearly, 50 years to understand this? And very recently, we were talking about the Windrush generation again from the Caribbean. The Windrush generation who came to this country, people like my parents who came to this country, and they were not welcomed. There was no one welcomed them into the country. They suffered a lot of abuse. They suffered a lot of discrimination, then, if that's what you want to call it. Discrimination. But it was racist abuse as well. But they suffered a lot of discrimination, but they didn't complain. That was one generation, they didn't complain. Okay? In their heads, they had been invited by the Queen to come to the UK, and they came and they gave everything they got. Can you imagine that? They gave everything they got because they were invited by the Queen to come. And they worked, they grew their families. Some returned back to the Caribbean, some have died since, and some have had restrictions on their lives because the Windrush generation, their paperwork were not sorted, were not dealt with properly. We don't understand those struggles. We don't understand the struggle of that generation, what they went through. But they still gave everything they got. They worked as hard as they possibly physically could do. And they loved the Queen. Majority. Isn't that amazing? So you need to understand the struggles of the people that you're interacting with at some way, shape, or form. You need to understand their strengths. So number one, their story. Number two, their struggles. And number three, their strengths. Now, I'm sure the Queen understood the strengths of the Windrush generation because when they came, they worked hard to build this country. The railroads, the underground, the roads, the national health system, the transportation. These were all the key areas that generation worked. And they worked and worked and worked. So in your customer journey, and I put that number one there, you're a suspect for some people, you're a suspect. You're not a prospect. For some people, they treat you like you're a suspect until they realize you've got money to spend. Huh? They treat you like you're a suspect. All right? Then you're a prospect. Then you become a customer. And at the point of being a customer, you say yes. So what's the story of the person who's a suspect? What's the struggle of the person who's a suspect? Is his struggle any more than the person who's a prospect? No. It could be, it could be that the way you treated him, the way you've interacted with that person, you treat them like a suspect. And because you treated them like a suspect, it means that the interaction is not very positive. So you need to understand your customer journey and don't treat them as a suspect. They are prospects because they have spending power to buy your products. Now, I must say this as well, in the last 10 years, but in the last probably 5, in the last 12 to 24 months, particularly, if you watch British television, I'm not talking YouTube now, I'm not talking on the social media channels, I'm talking the standard British channels. You have seen the number of Black, African, or Caribbean, and even Asian people that are now included in adverts. You go back 20 years ago, go back 10 years ago, go back 5 years ago, there were not so many adverts including Black people. Why do you think that's happened? Why do you think that's happened? They are no longer suspects. Why do you think that's happened though? You see, what's happened, someone has recognized the spending power of a group of people. Yes, someone has recognized that there's a group of people out there who are consumers. And because they are consumers, they also have X amount of spending power. Now, if we target that audience and get access to their spending power, what will happen? Yes, you'll get brand new customers. Now, if you're in doubt of what I'm saying, just watch TV this week, yeah, and just make a note of the amount of adverts that you see, including Black African Caribbean people, which was never like that years ago. Never mind the Windrush generation being on TV. Okay, so let's get on with this. The customer journey. You treat it as a suspect, you're a prospect, and then you become a customer when you actually say yes. So why do you want to know your customer? Why do you want to know their story? Why do you want to know their struggles? Why do you they want to know their strengths? Here's the reason why. Because you want to know what inspires them. Yes, you want to know what inspires your customer. You want to know what ignites them into action. What sparks them off? You want to know that. And you want to know what engages them. All right. I spelled engage just because I wanted another I, so I had the 3 I's. Okay. It's normally spelled engage, all right? But I called it engage. So don't criticize me now. Don't criticize me now. But the reason is you want to connect to people's heart. You see, people make decisions based on logic. Yep. They'll rationalize why they need something, but it's the heart that will buy. Yes. And it's an emotional activity. Buying is an emotional experience for most people. Buying is an emotional experience. Some people will go to several shops, try something on or test something several times before they go back to the first shop 5 shops later to purchase what they first saw. That's some people, okay? But buying is an emotional experience and it connects to the heart. And that's why you want to know what inspires your customer, what ignites them, and what engages them. Yes? Because it's heart. You want to get to their hearts. So listen to this now. Hey guys, my name's Alex Gordon from Master Your Message. Yes, I also run the Message Talk Show. I'm tuning in today talking about how to treat your customer. I don't know where you're tuning in from, but I want you to understand that someone only becomes a customer when they spend money with you, not when they hang out with you. All right? So here's a transfer timeline. And why I talk about the transfer timeline. Okay. There's a nurturing that goes on when you nurture the suspect or the prospect. You nurture. And with social media now and with so many marketing tools we have now, we nurture for free. All right? We nurture for free. With the adverts that's going out, they're nurturing us, but it's costing them to nurture us. But yeah, but we're nurturing for free. And then you try to convert. Okay? You try to convert from the free stuff that you're putting out. People know, like, and trust you because of the free stuff. They see you regularly. They see you broadcasting. So they understand who you are. Okay? And so you then try to convert them. How do you try to convert? You try to convert by making an offer. Yes? And, I didn't put the other word in there. It has to be an irresistible offer. Yes, an offer that's irresistible. An offer that's stacked up that people go, wow, yes, I want that. I want some of that. All the things, the benefits that you're talking about so that I can drive faster, so that I can fly faster. Hey, don't be tempted to drive faster, okay? A couple of months ago, I got done for speeding. Yes, I got done for speeding a 20-mile-hour road, 20 miles per hour. And I wasn't going very fast, but the signs had changed. And because I was comfortable on that road, I hadn't taken notice of the changes. And so a few weeks later, I got an invitation to supply my details. And thereafter, I attended one of those driving courses. Now, I was really moved by the driving course because I learned so many different things about driving, about stopping, and the reason why I'm saying it is because if you were someone who learned to drive when you were 18, 19, or 20, 17, and still driving for over 30 years, you would not have gone back to any form of driving instruction or book to learn or driving course, would you? But so you're still driving with all the road signs that were there from like 20, 30 years ago and the speed limits that were there. Now, I was amazed when I did this driving course and I said, wow, at least every 5 years, we should do an online revision of the road codes driving on the street. That would make it driving a lot more safer on the road. Okay. So they've converted me. That conversion did cost me some money. It did cost me some money. It wasn't free. So you get converted when someone makes you an offer, an irresistible offer, an offer that you think, yes, I must get some of that. But in order for the conversion to be sealed, it must be a purchase. They must buy something. An exchange must happen. An exchange must happen, which involves a purchase. Now, I noticed I didn't say a monetary exchange because we have other ways of buying things these days. So just be conscious that it's a purchase, it's something that you buy, but how you do that is down to you. And so the next stage is the follow up. Why should there be a follow up? Why should there be a follow up? Now, if I go back to the companies I was working with, I was talking about earlier, whenever you became a customer of these companies, the only other time that they spoke to you was if the direct debit failed. Was if the direct debit failed, or they're trying to flog you something else. So when you follow up, there is a need to be updated on the progress of your customer. Whatever they purchase from you first, how are they getting on with it? Has it fulfilled the need? Can they give you a recommendation? Can they give you a testimonial? So there has to be a follow-up. So you nurture, you convert, and you have a follow-up. What do you have next? And I talk about this all the time. Transformation. What is transformation? Transformation is about changing people's attitude. Transformation is about changing people's belief about something. It's even about changing people's behavior. So being a customer, someone buys your product, you can transform the way they think about your product, about the services you offer, and it transforms their exact behavior. Until a transformation takes place, they're not sold on your goods or products. And there are some people out there who they're so good at recommending stuff that if you please them and they're happy with your stuff, they will recommend it to their mates. They'll recommend it to all their friends. They'll recommend it and refer it over and over and over again. And you can get a seamless sea of referrals because of the transformation that your product has caused. All right. And the fifth stage, the next step, and my coach talks about this all the time, it's called ascension. The next step, if you haven't transformed someone's life with your product, then they're going to transfer out of being a customer. Yeah. And the next step, they'll make that decision themselves. But if you have helped transform the way they think and the way they behave and the way they respond to your product, then the next step, they'll be waiting for you to give the next step. And that's what my coach calls ascension. And I'm not going to go into it today because at some point I will explain to you about how you add value to people's lives. All right. But he calls this ascension. The next step is ascension. And in ascension, you get satisfied with another product only because you have been transformed. Your thoughts have been transformed. Your behavior has been transformed. And your belief system has been transformed because of the product that you have purchased. So I think I have some questions here. What if That question there. What if prospects are going? I think it says. I think the question was meant to be: what if prospects aren't coming forward? What if prospects aren't coming forward? What if your prospects aren't coming forward the way you want them to come forward to you? Well, it's about your nurturing sequence. If people aren't coming forward as customers, it means that your nurturing. There's something wrong with your nurturing sequence. There is something wrong with your nurturing sequence. Your sequence, what you're doing to nurture them isn't working. And so you need to keep testing and looking at the responses and speaking to your potential customers about what they want. Why ascension? Of course, there is ascension. What is ascension really then? Ascension is the next step. It's the next step you take. If you're speaking at a conference, if you are presenting, and at the end of your presentation, people are satisfied with what you've done, they're always going to want to know, how do I get more of what you just provided? How can I get more of what you've done? How can I connect with you? That's what ascension is. It's the next step up, and there's always a next step. Now, I remember a story about a year ago of a conference I attended, and this lady was talking about how she missed out for years in thinking that once her program ran for 12 months. And once she finished her program, she didn't think that her customers wanted anything more of her products. And so for several years, she missed the possibility of providing another level to her existing customers. And it wasn't until her coach sat her down and asked her about what she's providing and the value she's providing to her customers. And when she went through what she was providing, he then said, so what's the next step after that? And she said, I don't have a next step. He said, what do you mean you don't have a next step? You've got over 20 to 25 people who spent 12 months with you, working closely with you. They get to know, like, and trust you, and they like what you're doing, and they stay with you for 12 months. The dropout rate was less than 10%. Why is there not another level? She hadn't thought about it. She hadn't given it any thought. What she kept doing every year is just getting brand new customers. So what did I say earlier? What does it cost you to keep your existing customers against what does it cost you to get brand new customers? Think about those costs. I'm not going to tell you, because this very exercise that this lady was doing made her realize that every year she was spending X amount of money to get brand new customers, and her existing customers were just transferring away. Why? Because she didn't have something else. When she added another product, the next step, she said over 90% of her customers took the next step. They ascended to the next level. Now, can you imagine what that happens in your revenue in your business? So you must understand, and you must know that there's always got to be a next level with your clients. So number one, you nurture. Number two, you convert because they know, like, and trust you. You've made them an offer and they buy because of what you've done before. They convert, they become a customer. Once they become a customer, you make sure you have a follow-up sequence, some form, some way, some tool to follow them up and understand their progress. Even if they don't respond, just follow them up. And then once you follow them up, you understand that they've been transformed. They give you testimonials. How do you know they're transformed? Because they start talking about what you've done for them. Yes, they start giving you testimonials. Yes, they start talking about the impact it's had on them. And they recommend and refer you. Yes, a constant stream of referrals. Yes. And finally, the next step. There's always got to be a next step, guys. There's always got to be a next step. So, what are you doing? What are you doing to make sure you have a constant stream of customers? Okay, think about that while I go to the sponsor and come back. You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon. So how do you treat your customer? How have you been treating your customers? How have you been treating your customers? Remember that, guys. How have you been treating your customers? It's essential. It's essential. Nurture, convert, follow up, transform, and then next step. There always has to be a next step with your customers, guys. If you don't take the next step, you're going to be missing out. You are going to be missing out. Hey, so if you want to connect with me, Alex Gordon, Instagram, Alex Gordon, the speaker. On Facebook, Master Your Message with Alex Gordon, or tune into the Message Talk Show on Facebook. Why don't you subscribe to the Message Talk Show at bit.ly/M Talk Show and get a copy of my blueprint. Yes, go to the link and get a copy of my blueprint and go to masteryourmessage.co.uk and connect with me. I want to thank you for tuning in today. I want to thank you for being your best self. I want to thank you for understanding how to treat your customer. This is Alex Gordon, your host, and I will see you again, because I know that when you start treating your customer differently, they're going to come back and they're going to have so many good things to say about you. You're going to ring me up, you're going to email me, and you're going to say, Alex, on the Message Talk Show, Alex, on Master Your Message, it's been amazing because my customers are talking about what I do, how I do it, and it's having a result. Because that's what you want at the end of the day. You want to have a fantastic result. And in order to have a fantastic result, you have to treat your customers fairly. Yes, that's me, guys, today. How to treat your customers. And I will see you again. I will see you again. I will see you again. How to treat your customers. And I will see you again. We're tuning out now because your customer is everything. If you don't have a customer, you have a hobby. You don't have a business. So treat your customers fairly. What did I say? Nurture, convert. Yes. What else did I say? Follow up. Yes. Transform. Yes. And then the next step, which is ascension. Over and out, guys. I shall see you again.